Nexus of Gameworlds again. So I haven't been uploading for a very long time. The period was 3 months. I'm really sorry for a very long break. It was due to some exams and others. Now, since I'm free for this weekend, I will be uploading videos all weekend. So in today's video, just as I mentioned in my previous one, in the movement guide, make sure to watch it. I mentioned that I will be making an aiming video guide, but I'm going to be dividing it into 2 parts. The first one will be of settings. In this part, I'm going to be discussing about settings, and the second part, which I will upload later. So in that part, I will be basically telling you techniques which you can utilize in your game, and you can also become a better player by following my words. So let's begin with today's video. And just an update, in my previous movement guide I had different settings, and now I basically updated all of them. And one of the reasons I took a long break was because I needed to practice more and more and learn new things so I could present it to you guys. And I also got little used to my new settings. So let's begin. For today's video, guys, I'm going to be using 2 guns. You can see in my hand it's Volt and Wingman. Now, let me tell you the main purpose of this video. In this video, I'm going to be providing you a list, and I'm going to be explaining each of the points. In total, there are 11 points, and those are 11 crucial tips. So, I'm going to be explaining all of that in detail, why to use that, and how to utilize that. So, let's begin. The first one is controller sensitivity. This is a very important thing for aiming and / hip firing. Hip firing is sometimes important in close range, because in controller you don't get a lot of aim assist where you're in Bangalore smoke, in caustic smoke, or you're just too close to the enemy, so aim assist does not apply there. Now, there are many situations and scenarios in my ranked matches or normal matches, even mixtape modes. I have been very close to the enemy, and that basically ruined my game and I died there. So now the reason was because I did not know the perfect setting which I could use. Now, why should you listen to me, and why you should use this? You should balance your sensitivity because it's very crucial for responsive aiming. Now, see, if I'm hip firing, the aim assist is gonna transition, and it's gonna little slow me down. You see, it's slowing me down, but that is ADS. It does not work on hip fires. So if I want to maintain a good hip fire, and also I don't want to sacrifice accuracy, I will reveal the setting to you because even you guys can use it, and it's not really that hard, but you can take 7 to 14 days to actually be used to it. So that's the thing. So how are you going to utilize it? By it, I refer to controller sensitivity. So to utilize it, you're going to experiment with different settings. So you can use default, you can use very high, you can use super high. Just get out and see which one is better. If you see a comfortable setting, use that one, because your comfort is also important in the game. And if you won't have comfortable settings, it'll actually really affect your game. Like as you see, I have high, or in other words, I have 4, sensitivity 4, which actually is very preferable, and many people use 4-3 linear, and it's a very common setting and also a popular setting. You can use 4-3 classic or 4-3 linear, but I'm using 4-3 linear for now because I think it is good. And I'm also seeing a little changes in my gameplay because I'm using linear. Now, point number 1 is over. Let's begin with point number 2, ADS sensitivity. Now, what I just showed you now was the normal sensitivity, the hip fire one, where you're not aiming down. This is aiming down and this is not aiming. That's pretty obvious. So, you need to also maintain your aiming sensitivity, just so you can actually aim like good. You don't want to be aiming like this, right? Don't want to be aiming like this because you're using your gun now. You're not like doing the fade movement. So I prefer low sensitivity because it's always better. Aim assist plus low sensitivity, godlike, brother. You're not gonna be doing your movement while aiming, okay? So basically, you can have a low sense. It doesn't really matter. You can use 5.3 or 4.3. Now let me tell you why is this helpful. See, you have to maintain consistency, okay? If you want to maintain that and you want to make up a little chain over here so that your aim won't break, for that you need a little lower sense. Now, how to utilize it? Let me show you. You should also, experiment with it. Just like I told you with the previous sensitivity, you should utilize it by experimenting with different settings, and you should see which sensitivity suits you, and the one which you're most comfortable with, you should choose that one. Okay, now this was point number 2 and now it's completed. Let's go to point number 3, look dead zone. Now what is look dead zone? Let's see that. I also have to give you a little description on that. So what is it? Look dead zone is actually seeing what is your input lag, how much is it, and your responsiveness, okay? So if you want your responsiveness to be like very good and you want good reflexes, you need to keep your dead zone low. The more you need to move your thumbstick is only when you take the higher dead zones. And if you want pinpoint accuracy and you don't want to move your thumb a lot, so for that, you can actually take the lower dead zone. Okay, that will really help you. Now, why is this helpful? Because a lower dead zone minimizes the input lag, and the value which is inserted by it is actually faster than the higher dead zones. So what I want to say is that you should actually try either non-dead zone, non-look dead zone, or small dead zone. Don't use large unless you have a higher drift stick. If you don't know what's a drift stick, let me explain. So you see, if your stick is actually broken, your thumbstick, you will start to look like this. You're not touching your controller and the stick is actually moving. It is moving right now for me because I'm using linear with no look dead zone. That's why. If I use small, then everything will be fine because mostly every controller has look dead zone. Okay? Now how to utilize it? You should actually see between 2 options, okay? Don't use the third option. The third option is large dead zone. Don't use it, just forget about it. Use small or none. I basically recommend none because of the responsiveness, okay? So you can stick better with your aim, okay? That's why. Now, point number 3 is over. Let's go to point number 4, which is a frequent asked question to many YouTubers. Button layout. What is button layout? And why is it helpful? Button layout is a remapping of your buttons, okay? Basically, your default buttons are set by the game. The game can actually set any buttons to any action. Suppose Apex prefers circle as crouch, okay? That's only the default settings. Don't think that I'm talking about any other thing, okay? So, you should actually, instead of using the default button layout, because default button layout is very trash, and I recommend not to use it because you have to move your thumb from R3 button a lot because you need to press crouch. Let me show you why I recommend this as boring. I cannot crouch while aiming. Okay, see, wait, the settings are different, so hard. So I cannot crouch while aiming, okay? So I need to remove my thumb from my stick. So I either strafe or I either crouch. This is a very bad thing. Oh, alright. I really don't know how to play with the setting. Let's go back. Yes, so this is why. Now, why should you use this and how should you utilize it, basically? Now, why? Okay, let me show you why. You should choose a layout which optimizes the thumb movement. You basically want to never remove the thumb off your aiming stick, okay? And you should never also remove the left hand thumb from your movement stick, because the both sticks are very important, and if you remove them, you're basically dead. Okay, not all the time. If you're going into higher matches, higher ranked matches, then you need to update your settings if you want to win most of the times. Now, how to utilize it? I'm going to tell you some button layouts which I prefer myself. These two button layouts are very famous: the evolved and the button puncher. I don't recommend the button puncher a lot because, see, I used the button puncher a lot before. So what happened is that I was using button puncher in my previous movement guide video. So the problem was that I ruined my controller because I was crouching too much. Right now I'm not using anything on my aiming stick. It's only just punch. You know, I don't use punch a lot. So basically, R3 is only aiming for me. I'm not going to be using the R3 button. And L3 is for cycling the weapons. So you know, I can just do this. The fade slide. This one. So this is why you should actually, instead of triangle, just try to keep it on some other button which is closer to your thumb. Okay, see, let me enable the button hints for a second. Okay, see. This is closer to my thumb. This is why I use it. I don't use my ping button too much. And when I have to use my ultimate, I just put my thumb on X and circle. So the thumb is actually big enough to press both of the buttons together. This actually makes it more easier. Now let's disable it because there is a reason for disabling it, which I will tell you later on in the video. You should use either my layouts or Ninja. This is my layout, okay? I use this because it's from Ninja and I can super glide easy with this. It's because both of the buttons are bumpers. The bumper buttons are L1 and R are of the same height. Now, point 4 button layout is over.